Tonight on the Vince Dao Show, we will be discussing the emerging banking crisis that has been engulfing the country and debunking some of Joe Biden's lies about it. Trans TikToker Dylan Mulvaney has somehow he has reached new levels of weird and strange. I don't know how that's even possible. And Andrew Tate was denied bail today by the Romanian courts. What should we think of it? Should Top G be freed? I'll let you know my thoughts. That's all coming up tonight on the Vince Dao Show. Stay tuned. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome to the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao. And before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream and subscribe if you are new to the channel. All right, we are going to be doing this show every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so be sure to join us every night on the week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, let me check out chat here while we get people to pour in. Let's check out chat here and say hi to some of our regulars. What's up, Zeb? What's up, Bad Peter, Mr. EZ, Jacob Millen, Lizel, Igfried, Unicorn, many such others. Good to see all of you guys. Now, if you want to support the show or if you have a question or comment that you want answered or read, feel free to send in a super chat. I will be, reading super chats throughout the night. I won't stop every single segment to read a super chat, but I will pause periodically between segments. And then if I don't get to your super chat during then, I will absolutely get to your super chat. At the end of the stream, we'll be doing a very long Q&A portion at the end. So, again, if you want to support the channel, if you want your comment to be guaranteed read, you can consider sending in a super chat, and I appreciate the support. All right. Well, let's get into it. We start tonight by discussing the pending financial crisis here in America. And you've seen the news with Silicon Valley Bank. Oh, my bad. I bumped I gotta move up. I keep bumping it over, being this far back to the chair. I always knock into it. Okay. I move around a lot, as you can tell. Well, it's very worrying, right? The financial system is very volatile, which is why you need to be prepared with our sponsors today over at Noble Gold Investments. Wasn't that smooth? Hey, don't say it's an irrelevant sponsorship. This literally ties into what we're talking about, because when the banks crash and the currency is worthless, you know what asset is... it always has value in any human society. It's not crypto. Okay, crypto can absolutely change in value. It can crash. It's gold. And a surefire way to keep your money safe for retirement is a precious metals IRA. Noble Gold Investments has been helping people like you keep their money safe for years with these IRAs. And this month they're giving away a beautiful Gold Eagle bullion coin, as you can see, with every qualifying IRA of $50,000 or higher. Make sure you come out of this very likely recession on top. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, that's noblegoldinvestments.com. Smoothest sponsorship read ever, huh? Because it ties right into the segment we are about to do. So, obviously, we have to talk about the chaotic financial situation that, is engulfing the entire country. But I want to do it in a different way tonight because, if you're like me, I really talk a lot about culture and politics on this channel. A lot of this finance and economic stuff goes way over my head, and I had to kind of do some research today to truly understand it. And so for the purposes of a stupid person like myself, I'm going to do my very best to explain this entire situation in stupid people terminology. So I'm not saying you're a stupid person, but I'm a stupid person. And so in order for myself to understand it, we have to explain this like we are stupid. So I will do my best to make this as easy for all of you guys to understand. So, first off, let's answer the question, what is Silicon Valley Bank? Well, SVB was one of the nation's largest banks, so why have you never heard of it, right? If it's one of the largest banks in the nation, how have you not heard of it? Well, It's because it's a rich people bank, and I mean like really, really, really rich. It's a rich people bank where rich people were investing and putting their money, so that's why you, maybe the average person, have never heard about it. And judging by the name, Silicon Valley Bank, as you can kind of tell implicitly, it's a bank where a lot of tech people were putting their money. Okay, so AKA it's basically the bankroll of the Democratic Party. Now keep that in mind, because normally when you go to the bank and you deposit money in the bank, banks will take the money that you invest and deposit it, okay? And so we've heard about financial crashes caused in the past by banks they take the money you deposit and they make really stupid investments with them. But Silicon Valley Bank sticks out because, yeah, we've heard about some stupid investments in the past, but they were downright essentially investing in nothing. And I call them the bankroll of the Democratic Party for a reason. They were basically investing in like woke initiatives. So think, clean energy. They put a lot of money into clean energy, diversity. They're basically in many ways pissing away their money. So like, I wonder why this bank crashed. I wonder why investing in diversity and clean energy initiatives, I cannot possibly imagine why those investments all went up in smoke. This is the definition of like go woke, go broke, right? Because you're supposed to invest. When you're a bank, you're supposed to invest money. And so what is an investment? It's like you make a calculated decision. Hey, this might be worth it. We're trying to make more money. We're trying to make a profit here. Investing in what? Diversity initiatives? Clean energy? That's, again, a way to completely crash. It's no surprise that this whole thing crashed. So that's essentially how we got to this point with Silicon Valley Bank. And obviously the panic of that bank is causing other bank failures and stuff like that. But that brings us, of course, to Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden is blaming Donald Trump for the bank crash. Why? Because supposedly Donald Trump repealed some Dodd-Frank regulations in 2018 that caused all of this. Dodd-Frank is legislation passed after the 2008 recession to kind of They were trying to reel in, the financial system. You could argue many of those regulations went too far and didn't really help, but whatever. He is blaming Donald Trump for repealing Dodd-Frank regulations. Never mind the fact that, of course, Democrats have had 2 years to fix the supposed mistake of Donald Trump. Okay, so they've held Congress for 2 years now unopposed. If this was such a big deal, they could have done it. But of course, it's Orange Man's fault. Even when he's not in office, it's still Trump's fault, right? But as you could imagine, right, this is no surprise to anyone, this isn't even true. The Dodd-Frank regulations that Trump repealed, first of all, were repealed under a bipartisan consensus, so Democrats agreed to vote for this. But the regulations in question actually only apply to small regional banks lending out mortgages to local people, right? So if you go to, let's say you live in Valdosta, Georgia. Shout out to anyone watching from Valdosta, Georgia. But if you live in Valdosta, Georgia, and you go to, let's say, Valdosta City Bank, and you say, I want to take out a mortgage on a house, there were regulations in place making that essentially harder, putting kind of more to do with that process, right? So this does not apply to Silicon Valley Bank. Why? Because firstly, it's not a small regional bank at all. As we previously discussed, this is a massive bank. And secondly, it doesn't apply to Silicon Valley Bank because Silicon Valley Bank is not giving out mortgages, right? Super rich people are not taking out mortgages, and they're certainly not doing that out of Silicon Valley Bank. If you're super rich, you just drop the bands on the house and buy it. You say, okay, $3 million, well, let me buy the house. All right, rich people aren't taking out debt on mortgages. Mortgages are like a middle class thing, right? And so this has absolutely nothing to do with any of that. But of course, Biden is falsely blaming the banking crash on these regulations. And now what's worst of all, he's talking about bringing back the relevant Dodd-Frank regulations, right? And so the Dodd-Frank stuff that, again, has nothing to do with the problem. But I would go so far as to say it's actually a bad thing that Joe Biden is bringing it back. Not just because it has nothing to do with the problem, but I think it's the most liberal thing ever, many such cases, to punish the little guy while saying you are punishing the big guy. Right? So, all these big banks made a bunch of careless, reckless investments in nonsense. Well, let's make it harder for small-time banks to do business with ordinary people like you. Oh, the rich are too rich? Well, let's say we're raising taxes on the rich and then just raise taxes on the middle class, essentially, more or less, right? Oh, college is too expensive? Well, let's give financial aid to like the very, very poor people, but still raise the price of college so that way like the middle class can't afford college and it's only the very rich and the very poor that don't walk out with student debt, okay? Oh, white people owned slaves 200 years ago? Well, let's make this random, Midwestern white guy who makes like 50 grand a year pay taxes to support reparations for that. Many such cases, right? And so this is the situation we are at now where Silicon Valley is... this is the situation, and they're more or less getting a bailout, okay? Now, Biden is not calling it a bailout because, of course, they're not going to call it that. But, of course, the bailout is happening because, again, this is basically the bank that bankrolls the Democratic Party. Oh, my bad. Went too far down here. This is basically the bank that, bankrolls the Democratic Party. Now, before we move on to the next segment, I want to kind of give my take really quickly on bailouts because I assume people are going to ask this question a lot. So let me just say, obviously bailouts are not a good thing. Now, why are bailouts not a good thing? Well, bailouts are not a good thing because it's a bailout, right? They incentivize bad behavior. So you would think in theory, if you made a mistake, if you made a bad financial mistake, the way you learn from that is you suffer the losses. That's kind of the premise of capitalism, whatever. You get all the rewards, get all the losses. And obviously bailouts re-incentivize bad behavior. And of course, if these big banks and these big firms know that, they're not going to get punished by the government they're not going to get punished financially for making stupid investments because they're going to get bailed out by the government, of course, they're going to keep on doing this. It seems pretty obvious to me that Silicon Valley knew they were going to get a bailout, which is why they're making these stupid investments to begin with. I mean, think about this logically. If you were a normal capitalist, would you be investing in all this like woke nonsense? Of course not. But if you knew you were going to get bailed out by the Biden administration, then of course that would be the case. But my issue, and this is kind of the point I want to make here, is I think bailouts in many ways are an inevitability of democracy, right? Because again, don't get me wrong, I think we're kicking the can down the road. We're just delaying an inevitable problem with these bailouts. It would be much better if we would just learn the mistakes now and kind of take the loss and then move on. We'd be a better off as a country for that, right? But the thing is, what president and what party would do that? Because that would require the entire financial system to go up in flames for a time, right? There's going to be bank runs. If you don't do the bailouts, there's going to be bank runs. There's going to be chaos. The economy's going to crash. The financial system's going to crash for a time. Now, again, in the long run, it will be better off, but try telling that to voters when you have an election every 2 years. It's impossible, and it's arguably a criticism of a system like ours. There is basically no way we could ever do what truly needs to be done to fix the financial system and stop doing these bailouts because Democrats have to win re-election, and so they're not going to bail it out, but Republicans also have to win re-election, so they're not going to bail out either. And so I don't have a very easy solution to that problem. I don't know how you fix the problem when you're bound by democracy. It just is what it is. But there are my thoughts on this whole banking situation. We will go on to Andrew Tate and Dylan Mulvaney in a little bit, but let me really quickly check out the chat here, see if we got any super chats. We got $2 from Arnie Hernandez. What are other underrated issues that Trump should run on? Real estate reform and making it more affordable to buy a house, and really talking about stopping these big firms from stepping in and hogging American real estate. You see the situation with Bill Gates. He's buying up a lot of land. BlackRock. There's a lot of firms tied to China. I really think that real estate reform could be a very important issue for the middle class, especially considering the fact that what's the target vote in a lot of these elections? It's the suburbs, right? It's the suburbs. And so I'm going to say real estate reform on that one. Let's see, how many likes are we at? We got 71 likes. Let's get to 100 likes, chat. Come on, we can do it. How many of you have left a like? I don't think very many. Okay, everyone, be sure to go and leave a like on the stream right now, okay? Leave a like on the stream. These mega banks might as well be the ones making the regulations. Well, they essentially are. That essentially what is happening here. Bailouts are a band-aid solution while the problem is maintained. Exactly. But what are you going to do? That's the issue with like this two-party system and it really is an issue of democracy itself when you think about it. If you have elections every 2 years, every party, no party wants to see the economy crash under their watch because they're not going to win re-elections, not just that time, but probably over the next 10 years. Because think about this aspect of it too, right? Let's say you let the financial system crash, you lose the re-election, but the economy long-term is better because of it. the other party is going to say, I'm the reason the economy is better, not them. See, you handed it to the Republicans, for instance, and they let it crash, and the Democrats that made it better. See, this is the toxic cycle we're inevitably always going to be stuck with, and it sucks. I don't have a real solution to that. So anyways, we will continue here in the show, but again, if you want to support the show, consider sending in a super chat, and I will be sure to read all of the super chats, if not periodically, then at the end. But let's continue here. All right, let me make sure I got the assets pulled up correctly here on this one. All right, we're good. Okay. All right, on with our next story here. Let's talk about Andrew Tate, because that is never a controversial topic ever at all whatsoever, right? Every time I ever say anything remotely either in favor of Andrew Tate or simply advocate for his justice on this channel, I immediately get attacked from all sides. Some say he is a misogynist. Some say that he promotes promiscuity and degeneracy, and you're a Christian, so you can't remotely say anything positive about the guy. All of this, in my opinion, misses the point, which is the fact that he is a guy who is countercultural, and he is a guy who is speaking truth to power and, at least in his own mind, trying to improve the state of modern men, which I think is a virtuous end. And so, whether you accept it or not, whether you agree with it or not, I personally believe for that reason he is a net positive overall on our culture. You can point out to ways he maybe makes things worse, etc., but I would argue, everything considered, he's a net positive, especially considering the comparison to what the feminist society of today already is. But even if you think he's not, you don't even have to agree with that fact. You can think he's a net negative, but we should still, regardless, question why he is in jail. Because when a guy who is countercultural gets thrown in jail under rather suspicious circumstances in a very politically corrupt country, we really ought to raise some eyebrows there. Yes, he is being accused of human trafficking, and that may very well be true. But the circumstances deserve questioning, do they not? Are we not supposed to be the conservatives, the sort of free thinkers here? Like, why does a corrupt... Here are the questions we should be asking. Why does a corrupt country like Romania truly care about that, first of all? Why do they only now care that this alleged human trafficking that happened years ago is suddenly a big deal? Well, obviously it has something to do with the fact that the Tate brothers are now worldwide famous. Secondly, we should ask the question genuinely, because I think it's a real possibility. Is the accusation true whatsoever, or is this a completely political hit job? These are very legitimate questions that we should be allowed to ask, and I'm very tired of conservatives demanding that I throw this guy under the bus because he's not Christian or because he hurt their feelings. Okay? That is not what this is about. Neither of those facts are relevant to this situation. It is very disheartening, in my opinion, to see a lot of supposedly based people now just completely towing the line of mainstream media and not even looking into the details of this case at all. Very often the people I go back and forth with, they don't know the basic facts about this case. They have total misrepresentations of it, and they're towing, again, the line of liberal mainstream media, but they still get mad at me while they're not even looking into the facts of the case themselves. And I expect nothing less from liberals and feminists. Okay, of course the feminists are going to do that and all that, but I expect a lot better from conservatives. Okay, come on, guys. Are we not supposed to be the party of, like, the free thinkers, the people who ask the questions against the system? We on this channel and on Twitter and all that have been asking those questions, even if they are not popular to ask. And the more you learn about this case, frankly, the more you realize how corrupt this entire thing is. A few months ago, we did a video talking about how the case file is actually completely empty. So they were arresting him on no evidence, okay? And on top of that, no charges were even brought up against Andrew Tate at the time. So they have just been keeping the two brothers in preventative arrest. Whatever that means. What is preventative arrest? So basically in Romania, you can arrest and hold someone in jail for up to 180 days without trial, even scheduled, without charges, simply because, you think they might be doing something. And you can just try to hold them in jail while you try to look for evidence. Who knows, maybe, planting evidence, that's a possibility. But while you obviously try to look for evidence and all that, in America, this goes against any concept we have of justice, right? In America, it's 48 hours. If someone is in jail for 48 hours, either you have to say, okay, here are the charges being brought against you because we have evidence, or you have to let them go. You can't just keep a person in jail for several months on end with no charge. They don't know what they're being charged with. No charges, no evidence, no trial, right? That's not how it works in a free country and a real justice system, okay? If there's no evidence, there's no charges, there's no nothing, then this is not justice. And as we covered in the video a few months ago, stated victims in the case file were coming out and saying that they weren't victims, but the Romanian government would not allow them to be removed from the case file. Take a listen. Again, this is what we were covering a few months ago. The very judge who granted these extensions has labeled Andrew Tate a dangerous figure and said that there was, quote, reasonable suspicion, despite the fact that prosecutors have not yet clarified the facts of the case. They don't know what they're even charging him with and are just holding the brothers in jail while they try to find something. Reasonable suspicion? Reasonable suspicion of what? We don't even know. I mean, come on. Could this get even more obvious? It gets worse. Multiple women who are listed by the Romanian government as victims in the case are coming out and saying, I'm not a victim. I was never trafficked. The Tate brothers are good guys. Please remove me from the case file. And the government is refusing. Check it out.
I'm making a public request for the court to remove me as a victim from the case file. Neither me nor Beatrice are victims in this case. Ever since I found out that we are set as victims in the files, I've been telling the court to remove me, but they choose to ignore it and refuses to do so. There are no victims in this case, and I am not a victim. We have been given 3 statements so far, clearly saying we are not victims, but our statements keep getting thrown away.
So they have no evidence, they have no charges. The very women they're trying to use as victims are saying that it's made up. Folks, tell me how this trial is not an obvious sham. So that was a few months ago, okay? And it has since come out since then that after we did that video, accusers were caught in WhatsApp messages literally plotting to infiltrate the Tate's life and make up the entire thing, okay? So we have receipts that some accusers in this case have been plotting to take down the Tate brothers and are making up lies to do so. This is on WhatsApp messages. This is from the source of wiretaps. And so, yet still, the Tate brothers sit in a jail cell. Andrew allegedly has been having like health problems and stuff. It's just a very messed up situation. And of course, as today you may have heard, the totally not corrupt whatsoever Romanian legal system has denied bail for Andrew Tate. They're hearing Tristan Tate, his brother's approval to appeal tomorrow. I doubt that will go any differently. So look, let's be clear about this. Could it come out that they are actual human traffickers? Maybe. But we have not seen evidence of that yet. And everything we have seen over the process of this detainment seems to point towards the opposite. It seems to verify a lot of our initial instincts at the time that this entire thing is fabricated. This is basically a political hit job by the West against a very influential countercultural figure. And honestly, if I were just to think about it logically, if the Tates were really international human traffickers, why would they make themselves into public figures? Why would they be public at all? Why would they create these worldwide personas, first of all? But not just do that, make worldwide controversial personas. Why would you think, because they are smart guys, why would they put such a huge target on their back if they were really guilty of doing everything that people claim, okay? And maybe they are, but I'm not really inclined to believe any of this without evidence. And this is why I am sticking up for them. Again, I don't care what qualms you have with the Tate brothers. You really don't have to like them. I am sticking up for them firstly because I believe in justice. I believe in proper justice no matter who it is, okay? And people might say, and I've heard this argument before, oh, well, it's his fault for moving to Romania. He moved to Romania because of more lax laws on stuff, and now that's kind of being used against him. And I mean, maybe that's true. Yeah, I suppose. That still doesn't change whether or not he's innocent. That's still not an excuse to totally ignore this case and support an innocent man, presumably being detained in jail for no reason. And secondly, I stick up for him because I recognize that whatever our differences, they are going after Andrew Tate because he is countercultural. Because he is a rebel against the system. Again, regardless of what you think of the guy, you can love him, you cannot really care for him. This is objectively true. I don't have to share all of his views on everything to recognize that they're going after him for this reason. And because I too am in a way countercultural and a rebel myself, I will stick up for him. What's so crazy about saying that? Because I know that could be me, that could be one of you. I do actually care that he's been wrongfully imprisoned for his ideas. And I also think that, honestly, if this happened to me and Andrew Tate knew who I was, I think Andrew Tate would stick up for me in this situation. So why should we not do the same for him? And why is this so hard for people on the right to understand? And I know I'm going to get a million comments. Oh, he's a degenerate. He's not worth defending, blah, blah, blah. I saw one comment the other day saying that he was controlled opposition, okay? They said Andrew Tate is controlled opposition. I was like, the guy's in jail. Is that what they do to controlled opposition? They throw them in a jail cell? And even so, yes, not Christian, whatever. That's not the point, Smooth Brain. Okay, that's not the point. The point is that he is a Western dissident being jailed for being a dissident. That doesn't concern you? That's not worth being talked about? And people even tell me privately, like, stop talking about Top G. That's not the hill to die on. That's not the hill to die on. You're burning this bridge, that bridge. It is absolutely the hill to die on. The most famous countercultural guy in the world is being thrown in jail under corrupt circumstances, and that's not something to talk about? And further, you really think that this is something that couldn't happen in America too? It reminds me a lot of when Alex Jones was deplatformed, right? So back when he was the first major conservative to get deplatformed in 2018, and people said, oh, well, he's controversial. Okay. They said, oh, well, it's a private company. Sounds very similar to the excuse of, oh, it's Romania. And here in 2023, here we are now where big tech censorship is a very normal thing in America. Believe it or not, I want to be ahead of the curve here. I think we should strive to be ahead of the curve. And some of these conservatives, I just don't think they get it. Okay. You know, I saw a lot of conservatives last week on Twitter sharing this clip of him that was 2 years old, okay? They were sharing this 2-year-old clip of him where he was making a stupid joke, admittedly. Okay, it was a dumb comment, whatever. But they're all dunking on him for this clip from 2021. It's like, dude, while you dunk on Andrew Tate for likes and, oh, well, this is not conservative, blah, 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 he's sitting in a jail cell. Do you guys understand that? The guy's a political prisoner, and you are out here just groveling from, like me points from feminists. Is that what we do to political prisoners? I'm glad to know that if I was ever thrown in jail for political reasons, the first thing all of you would do is dig up old clips of me and then dunk on me instead of saying, hey, let's stick up for the justice here and let's try to get him a fair trial. I really trust this movement with my life now, right? Unbelievable. So, I'm not going to say anything for sure because I don't know anything for sure. Again, there may very well be evidence out there. But I will say I support justice for Top G, and I don't think I don't think he's receiving justice right now, okay? And I don't support that justice because of any one view that he holds, but rather because I don't think that people should be thrown in jail for speaking truth to power. It really is that simple. So... all right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and read chat here for a few moments. I'm sure this will make absolutely nobody mad. But look, here's the deal. I'm going to stick up for him and stick up for justice and a fair trial and a fair system here, whether or not it's popular. Okay, if I'm the only person to do it on the right, then it is what it is. It's important. I think this situation is important to us, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Again, I explained why there are implications on other things, but all right, let's check out some of the chats here. Aaron Chambers for $10. Thank you very much. Says, love you, Vince. Can you please go on the Whatever podcast? You would be awesome. I would love to go on the Whatever podcast, but don't really have contacts there. We know Sovereign Bruh, but I don't think he does the booking. And so I would absolutely go on. Maybe we could get on at some point. I'd have to fly out to California and all that, but I would be absolutely down to do so. How many viewers do we have? We have 103 viewers. Let's get to like 120, 130 likes, okay? Let's get those likes up. Everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream, 100%. enforcers of the Matrix be like, get back into the pod. It's so true. It's so true. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, Vince, the stream is turning up great. Would you be down for the idea of inviting viewers on the show to discuss political issues or just talk and chill? Yeah, when I have the tech set up, I want to do call-in streams for sure. I feel like that'd be good. The issue is we don't really have the tech for that right now, if you know what I'm saying. Thank you very much for the $5, by the way. I just figured out how to get this going on my own kind of setup, and so I'm working on guest stuff. For now, the next few guests we get are going to be pre-recorded because I'm still working on that, but you know, maybe hopefully once I get it kind of mastered and figured out, we could definitely do call-in streams. I absolutely would like to do that. Maybe it's a perk for like channel members or something, and I think that's a great idea, Burgundy Blue. And so I will work on that. Thank you very much for the $5. And once again, if you want to support the stream, feel free to send in a super chat. It is all greatly appreciated. Okay, well, final story for you tonight before we go on to exclusively reading your questions and your super chats. By now, you are certainly familiar with Dylan Mulvaney. That is the guy who has been LARPing as a girl on TikTok for exactly now 365 days. And he always makes, you know, these ridiculous over-the-top TikToks about day 2 of being a girl, day 365 now apparently of being a girl. Here is just one example of the individual that is Dylan Mulvaney.
Day 271 of being a girl, or I'll say woman for this one, because this video is for the women on Twitter who just... Hello, ladies. We got a lot to cover, but let's first talk tampons. I haven't talked about tampons on here lately because I don't use them. I'm a woman who doesn't have a uterus. I know this. And science was my strongest subject in high school. I was also shockingly good at math, but I digress. I just sometimes carry one in case anybody needs it. And that seems to have just set the world on fire in some pretty nasty ways. And this is a conversation that's been going on for months. I just haven't chimed in because I'm so tired of sticking up for myself over something that was so pure intentioned. But now Twitter is just ablaze. And this week, there's some women that are now coming for Tampax, and I wanted to clear the air. So I have some amazing news. Are you ready? I have never worked with Tampax before.
Okay, you get the point. Look, you guys get the point. We don't need to keep playing it. You guys get the point, okay? But again, bizarre individual, very bizarre. Okay, that's the nice term, is calling him bizarre. Okay. But Dylan Mulvaney is now on his 365th day of being a girl, quote unquote, being a girl. And I really thought by this point that there is no way that Dylan Mulvaney could ever be weird to us because this individual has done like everything on the book. But somehow, some way, he went on the Drew Barrymore show for day 365, and take a look. It turns out he can indeed get more stranger and more cringe. And so obviously, you know, no matter what he's doing is still wrong, especially the fact that he's pushing it on children and going to the White House to promote and all this stuff. But I seriously thought there's no way it could get weirder. Well, here he is on the Drew Barrymore show. Let's check it out.
Let me ask you about the negativity. How have you dealt with it?
So this is flipped, by the way. It's flipped for...
What's an approach you take? What's your self-talk? What do you filter?
I flipped it for, like, copyright purposes, okay? But
there is so much hatred directed at the trans community right now. It's everywhere. And I think the greatest weapon that I can contribute is trans joy and comedy and talking about hard, you know, subjects and really intricate moments of a transition, and try to let everybody in to see that, you know, I'm not a monster. I'm not somebody that, you know, is trying to do anything but be myself and be happy.
Look at the jump cut there. Do you guys see the jump cut? Like, that was totally...
Love ya.
You see, like, it cuts, right? This is totally cut up. Like, it's totally fake. Like, that applause was not organic. They probably pre-recorded the applause and then put it in. But anyways...
Where do you find the strength to keep being the joy?
Well, I think having my chosen family and the people that I love to take care of me. But I also think there's something just about making sure that you don't put something out there before you're ready, and really just surrounding yourself with good people. It's interesting because I look at someone like you and I can't imagine anybody disliking you.
Oh, please. Do you know?
So now, like,
do you
what's
want to
going
know?
on here?
Ironically, who
why is she on the
dislikes me
floor?
the most
Why is she on her
sometimes?
knees? What's going on?
Myself.
Oh, me too. Oh. And
this is just bizarre. This is strange.
I guess, you've asked me now, like...
What is happening?
You've asked me, like, what I would do to combat the hate, right?
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Why are they on the
Okay,
floor?
that's a great question. Now, I started...
You've been doing it a little longer than I have.
Is this a play date?
It's
What's
funny
going
because
on?
when I was a kid, starting with E.T., it was the first time I was introduced to film reviews, which are basically social media.
What is happening?
But I felt like all these reviews, and it could be a Charlie's Angels, it could be an E.T., it could be The Wedding Singer, everything in between. If you read reviews, just like on social media, you are pretty much guaranteed a 50-50.
Is like looking at the...
Some like it, some don't. So you've got to be willing to bear down and brace for it. And I think
picking your battles too.
Yes.
And sometimes I think the greatest response
you get the point.
can just be in the next Joyce video.
Right.
Or
so that was Dylan Mulvaney on the Drew Barrymore show, I believe her name is. I don't know, for some reason they just like got on the floor and they started having a very cliche like distressed mom moment. I don't know. Daytime TV, I have no idea. Frankly, for the first time in the history of this channel, I watched that. I almost have nothing to say about it. I don't know what to say. It is so incredibly bizarre what we just witnessed. It is so just strange and odd that I really don't know what commentary to give other than that's bizarre and strange and weird. And Dylan Mulvaney virtually every single day leaves me completely scratching my head. But with that said, I suppose this can be a viewer-led segment. I will read some of the chat because, once again, I have very little of my own to say on this other than that's completely bizarre. So, Burgundy Blue says this is a religious ceremony. That's a good point, and that really does come off like that. They're beating it up right on the floor. Real and true. Creating editing is what the media is best at. It's so true. Say bean it up. I did. I just said bean it up. Real and true. Dylan Mulvaney needs Jesus. Let us pray for his salvation. It's not a her, it's a his salvation. But absolutely, be sure to say a prayer for Dylan Mulvaney. I mean, clearly this individual has some issues going on, right? And we don't laugh at that. We don't attempt to mock that, right? I think the only degree to which we will criticize it is out of love and hopefully to, call out bizarre, abnormal behavior so that way it can be recognized and noticed. So absolutely be sure to say a prayer for Dylan Mulvaney and his salvation. Aaron Chambers says... for $10, thank you very much. Aaron Chambers says, I will be mentioning you, Vince, on the Whatever podcast tonight. It's 10 p.m. Eastern time. I got you. You are a very smart young conservative. I was a Democrat for 12 years. I'm retired Navy. Stand by. Well, thank you very much for your service, Aaron Chambers. And thank you very much for the $10. And thank you for shouting me out on Whatever. Yeah, let's work on it. Let's get it done. I think that would be fun. That'd be cool. So God has left the chat. That's what he wants you to think. And then he will return. So true. Kurt Stevens says, hire me as your producer at Vince Dao. Would you be willing to move to Central Florida and come in every night? Because we don't have a studio right now. This is my bedroom. One day we will have a studio. And this is true. And we'll have a budget. But for now, I have to do this. We barely have this. I would not even have the space in here to really have a producer if I could. So this is real. All right. Well, now that chat has been read for a few seconds there, I do want to remind everyone, despite the fact that he's not only doing this stuff publicly, again, bizarre, strange, weird, but also given the fact that he's been going to the White House and promoting this perversion to children. Reminder, Dylan Mulvaney has been promoting a movement to push this stuff on kids. People on the right, if you'll remember a few weeks ago, said that Matt Walsh was too mean, quote unquote. Remember this attack? He's too mean for correctly labeling this behavior as bizarre and strange. Now, I know we have short memories, but I feel like every time we watch a Dylan Mulvaney segment, it is relevant to tie that back in. Remember, Matt Walsh is the one who is considered too mean for commenting on this and getting involved in this. So just want to remind everyone of that. So my question is, as you're seeing on the screen, is this better then? Is it better to like get on the floor and hold Dylan Mulvaney's hand and do this strange ritual? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me, guys. But okay, folks, that wraps up our stories for tonight. We will go to Q&A and chat interaction now. So what's up, guys? How'd you like the show? Let me know how you guys doing tonight. So, as usual with the Q&A, which how much time do we have? We've got about like 15 to 20 minutes to do the Q&A here. I will be freely reading questions and answering them from chat. I will, of course, prioritize the super chat. So, if you want your comment or question read in our open segment of the stream, consider sending in a super chat. And how many likes are we at right now? 131. Let's get to 150 likes. Everyone be sure to spam the like button right now. Okay, leave a like on the stream. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our super chats and let's get into our questions for tonight. I forgot to do the Dao time thing, by the way. I'm still getting used to this. Okay, so what time is it? What time is it? Oh, it's super chat time. So true. All right, I gotta remember to do that. I gotta remember to do the opening thing, okay? But all right, let's check out these super chats here. Aaron oh, I already read that one, my bad. Tommy Robinson for $20, big donation. Thank you very much. Tommy Robinson says, it's no coincidence that Andrew Tate was arrested after he went viral for going back and forth with Greta Thunberg. Like he said, first they cancel you, then they arrest you. If that doesn't work, they kill you. Yeah, he did say that. He did say that right after he got deplatformed. He said, you have 3 lives, basically. Firstly, they try to cancel you, deplatform you. If that doesn't work, they'll throw you in jail. If that doesn't work, they'll kill you. And so he is on tape saying that, which is very interesting to say the least. And yeah, Is it really such a coincidence that the week he was attacking Greta Thunberg and, calling out the climate change agenda, that's the week they went after him? Again, the whole thing reeks, okay? Now, for YouTube purposes, again, let me reiterate, I'm not saying I know anything for sure. I don't know. I'm not Andrew Tate. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if from an outside observer who's being an honest free thinker about this, the thing quite obviously reeks of suspicion. And it's so true. Thank you very much for the $20, Tommy Robinson. We're mutuals on Twitter, aren't you? Is that the Tommy Robinson from Twitter? What's up? Good to see you. Thank you very much for the 20. Appreciate it. God bless you. Jonathan Fields for $5. Thank you very much. Jonathan Fields for the 5 says, thank you, Vince, for all that you do. Keep spreading the truth and keep stating facts. Nothing but respect for you. God bless you, Vince. God bless you too, Jonathan Fields. I appreciate the kind words very much. And thank you very much for the $5. And thank you for supporting the show. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, how do you become a channel member? What is the cost? So you can hit the join button on the channel, which I know for some reason YouTube, it's like they take a profit of it. So I don't know why they make this so hard. For some reason, YouTube makes it very hard to actually find the join button. So I do have a link in all of my descriptions where you can go and check it out there. Right, so I think I have a link that says become a member. Just click that link. If you can't find the join button on the channel, and the tiers I believe are $3.99 a month, $7.99 a month, and then $15 a month for different types of perks. Thank you very much for the $2, Burgundy Blue, and yeah, all of you can support the channel by buying a membership. I know I was supposed to do members only content last week. I said that. I didn't forget. We've been very busy starting the show, but when we have a little bit of time, I have quite a few videos lined up for you guys. So don't worry, we'll get that done. Aaron Chambers for $10 again. Thank you very much. Says Aaron says, so sorry. Vince is smarter than anybody his age. Stand by for my call out on you on the whatever podcast. I'm dead serious. I will bring you up 5 times if needed. Thank you very much for the 10, Aaron Chambers. I don't know if we can go share the screen right now. I don't have that all set up at the moment, but definitely I appreciate it. And the rest of you guys chat, if you want to go over into their chat and help them out, join the raid or whatever, definitely feel free to do so. Be sure to do so. That's all appreciated. Okay, go help out our boy Aaron Chambers on the whatever podcast live chat. Dollar for $2 says, I will fly a plane with a flag promoting your show. If you actually do that, then I'll get in your... We've had this discussion for months about whether or not I would actually get in the plane with Dollar for Dollar. I will get in the plane with you to do that. Okay, we will do that. We will take the risk on my life to do that. So, real. That'll be epic. Watch the Vince Dao Show on YouTube every night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's Dao time. So true. So true. The join button is right next to the subscribe button. It is next to the subscribe button, but it's kind of hard to find on some stuff. So, you know. Exactly. Even the alleged victims defended Tate, and that's true. True, right. So people, like we brought up earlier, yes, alleged victims are coming out and saying, I'm not victims. Why am I listed by the government as this? Now, an accusation I have heard, or a counterpoint I've heard very often on that front is like, well, maybe they're being paid off by the Tates to say that. Perhaps that is true. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But that's still, like, if they're saying that's not what happened, then how can you use that as legal evidence? And even if that were true, this idea that, you know, if it's all just a money thing, yeah, Andrew Tate has a lot of money. He has a lot of power. You know, they're very wealthy. But so is, like, the West, okay? So consider all of these systems and apparatuses that have an incentive to take down Andrew Tate versus Andrew Tate himself. Who has more power? Who has more wealth? Which side do you have more to gain from by, you know, doing that? And plus, you know, maybe you might look at it, oh, America would never bribe someone. I don't know if that's true, but it's Romania, right? It's a highly corrupt government. You mean to tell me that the government also can't equally bribe back? Or that the government can't blackmail people? The government can't go to you and say, if you don't testify, well, then we're going to blackmail you. We're going to try to go against you too. Of course, these things are all possible, right? And yeah, again, yes, you can say, well, how do we know that the girls aren't bribing them? Again, yes, that's a legitimate concern. I would say, yes, it's a possibility that could be happening. But it's also a possibility that, again, that's happening on the other side, and the other side has more money and more power and more influence. So which one are you more likely to believe? Just something to think about. The Tech Boy for $5, thank you very much, says, could you sign and share my anti-abortion petition called Cancel the Verge? It is on Change. Well, thank you very much for the $5, Tech Boy, and absolutely, let's see. I'll try to make you a mod here, and then if you're modded, then you can just post the link in chat if you want to do that. Let me see. Okay, I can add. Okay, so I added you as a mod. Let me see. Where's Zeb and him? I'm gonna add Zeb as one too. If I can find him in the chat. Let's see. I can't find him in the chat. All right, Zeb, if you're watching, put something in the chat and I'll click mod on you. So. Real and true. Sorry, I don't know how to drink water, apparently. All right, real. All right, yeah, so Tech Boy, you can post that link in the chat for sure. Kurt Stevens says, I live in Florida at Vince Dao. Well, email me or DM me on Instagram. We'll talk. We'll see if we can figure something out, okay? Dollar for dollar, sure. You can be modded too. All right? It says you already are modded. What do you mean? Oh, wait, no, never mind. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see what else we got going on in here in chat. Again, folks, if you want your chat for sure read, you can send it in as a super chat, but let's see what else we got going on. By the way, speaking of this, okay, I just have to rant really quickly. I said I was going to do this in the Q&A portion. Dude, my printer, okay, so obviously I've been using my printer to, you know, print out the scripts. My printer has been making noise all day. Okay? And it won't turn off. I've just been trying to turn off the printer. It won't turn off. It won't turn off because it has a thing on the screen saying, update the firmware. Do you want to update the firmware of your printer? What, folks, I cannot stand this aspect of the modern world, as are many other aspects of the modern world. Why does a printer have firmware? Why do you need to update a printer? It has one function: to print out paper. And presumably the functions to print out that paper should be complex enough to already be built into the printer. Why do you need to update a printer for? Unbelievable. And you might say, well, Vince, that's because you bought a smart printer, okay? You bought a smart printer. No. True story. When I went to Office Depot to buy this printer, I tried to find the simplest printer I could find because I don't like that. Touchscreen on the printer. Why does my printer need to be an iPhone? Why does my printer need to have all these fancy stuff? So I bought a printer with like an analog screen. This looks like a printer from like the early 2000s or whatever, but it's still a smart printer connected to the internet. It just looks like a old printer. And here it is telling me to update the firmware. Most annoying thing I think I've ever seen. And it keeps making noises all day. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. I kept trying to press the power button. It won't even let me turn it off. It's just stuck on now. Why do we need this? Why do we need smart fridges, smart dishwashers? A fridge has one function, two functions. Some of them, three functions. Fine. Refrigerate, freeze, dispense water and ice. That's it. What do you need? What do you need a screen? What do you need a touch screen on your fridge? Why does your fridge need to be connected to the Wi-Fi? Connected to the Wi-Fi? You need Wi-Fi fridges? I hate the modern world, okay? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. None of this stuff is necessary, okay? Even smartwatches, okay? And I know probably some people in chat have smartwatches. Why do people need smartwatches, though? So it tracks all of your biometric activity. That's not weird at all. You're letting big tech have access to all your biometrics. Oh, but that's on your phone, too. Okay, fine, whatever. But, you know... I am criticizing things I don't like and defending things I do like, and it is totally subjective and contradictory, okay? Yes, deal with it, okay? Get yourself a normal old school watch, okay? You don't need smart watches. You don't need watches to be giving off Bluetooth and all that stuff, okay? It's just not true, not real. This was the best part of the episode. Yeah, real. I know. Okay, the modern world sucks. Why do we need this? Vince Dao rants against the printer fan base. True. I might, honestly, out of rebellion for this printer, I'm getting a new laptop soon. So maybe when I have my laptop, I'll just do the script off the laptop. Because, I've been trying to be old school, like an old school newsman before they had printers, before they had anything. But I am so pissed at the printer that we might just have to move to good old laptop like every modern podcaster with their little MacBook in front of them does, okay? I will do that just out of rebellion. And I know that's hypocritical because that in itself is more modernist. I don't care. I am so mad at that printer right now that we might just go laptop mode from here on out. Plus, it saves paper, it saves the trees. I'm an environmentalist. Oh, I'm an environmentalist now. I save the trees. Real and true. Ryan Robinson says, Vince, do you hit the gym? I just started actually this week doing it on a consistent basis. So, yes. His laptop. Hey, your laptop's from 2010? Oh, wow. I'm surprised that thing is... Dude, my Macs last like 5 years. It's terrible. I put the link in chat, Vince. Okay, everyone be sure to click the link from Tech Boy. Here, I'll pin it. Am I able to pin it? Where's your link? Okay, I'll pin it for the last few minutes of the stream here. Firmware is non-physical tech. Well, how do you update firmware then? And someone says hackers. What are you going to get from hacking a printer? It's a printer. I'm owning you by printing out random papers while you're not looking. They can't make money off of that. They can't do anything with that information. Why do you need to do that? You can play music from a fridge. What's the point? Play it on your TV. Play it on your speaker. You don't need to play it on the fridge. This is true. I hate printers is going to be posted as a clip tomorrow 100%. Well, thank you for actually saying that, because that reminds me, I need clippers, okay? I need people to go and clip all these streams because I'm not able to clip everything. So we need like clips channels. If you want to make a channel on YouTube, but especially we need like Instagram pages and like Twitter pages that'll post our clips on there, post my monologues, rants, all of it, post serious stuff, semi-serious stuff, and I'll share all of that, okay? I'll share it. It'll help like amplify the show, you know what I mean? So if you want to start, it doesn't have to be a Vince Dao fan page. It can be, but if you want to even start like just a generic conservative page and post my clips on it, either way, DM me. We'll talk. Or better yet, start it and then DM me, and then we'll talk on that front. But yeah, if you want to do that, we'll figure something out on that front. Okay, we'll figure something out. So we need fan pages, chat. We need fan pages. I'm your guy at Vince Dao. All right, real. Let's try to, like, I don't know how it's harder to take over YouTube because I can't share the clips, right? There's no way for me to, like, share it. But Instagram, we have the stories, or we can even do the collab posting now. Twitter, we have it on there. I can just retweet you. So let's do that. We need clippers. Okay. And maybe we can make a Discord or something to organize it or whatever and put together a team. But for now, let's just say we need clippers. And if you want to do that, go ahead and then DM me. We'll make sure it all gets shared and all that. And let's do that. Okay. Again, specifically Instagram and Twitter and maybe even TikTok if you want to do TikTok. And then if you want to do it on YouTube too, go ahead. But like I said, it's just gonna be a little harder for me to share it. All right. Since printers are connected to networks and computers, it's possible to go from a printer to something important, plus ink is expensive. Well, why is it set up like that? A printer should be that's not a W for the printer. That still proves that the system is stupid. Shouldn't a printer have the only function to print? Why is it even able to, like, access your information through a printer? I still think that's an L. All right, but I will end the stream in like 3 to 4 minutes here. So if you have any last minute questions or last minute super chats you want to send in, last call. We're closing the bar. Last call, okay? Lionoz says the blog is better. Romans, how many people show me? I want you to show me analytics of how many people have actually read the blog. Okay, I'm curious about that. Vince, you should call the Indian lady who hit your car for a printer help. Yeah, but she's probably gonna, like, destroy. She's probably gonna come into the house by just driving the car through the house, and then I'm gonna have to replace about $200,000 of drywall. So, real and true. Printers are networked so you can print over Wi-Fi. Okay, all right, fine. But even then, why do they need to be networked in a way where you can access the information off the computer? That's still the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We will not tolerate the excuses for the printer, okay? I missed a super chat. Aaron Chambers for $10. Thank you very much, Aaron Chambers, with the many donations tonight. God bless you. Said, someone called me a Chad in the messages. I'm retired military via medical. Well, thank you for your service again. I actually want to help Vince, who is a young man. This is the problem with liberals. They assume everybody didn't work for it. It is so true. Thank you very much for the $10, and I appreciate all the support tonight. Again, we're totally independent. We don't have a network. We do have sponsorships here from time to time, but it's an entirely one-man show right now. Okay, I freaking, you wonder how I switch the scenes? I do it. I just produce right here. So if you want to support the show and make it into something big, all you guys can send in super chats to support. Real and true. All right, let's see. We're at 154 likes. Let's get to 160 likes right here, and I'll end this. Well, 1 minute. One more minute, okay? Frederick 1483 says, "Bean it up." Thank you very much for the $10. So true, bean it up. Nobody knows. I feel like it should remain an inside joke with the people who know what that means. Many people do not know what this means. Okay. So, Frederick, do you want me to tell people what it means, or I think it's better ambiguous. I think it's a mystery that a few people came in my chat the last few days saying "bean it up" and everyone's confused. Like, what exactly does that mean? So true. But yeah, thank you very much for the $10, Frederick. Thank you very much. Great stream, Vince. Thank you very much, Unicorn. Real and true. I'll message you on Instagram for the fan page stuff. All right, let's do that. By the way, message my personal Instagram if you want it read faster. That's vinny.the.kid with like 2 D's at the end, I think. Burgundy Blue, last super chat of the night. Burgundy Blue for $5, sorry, says, the join button doesn't show up on the YouTube app for me. Joe Brandon is hacking both your printer and your channel. Have a good night. Have a good night to you, Burgundy Blue. And you have to, You have to again, I have the link in my description, okay? Just click the link in my description. But all right, folks, that'll do it for our show tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a very good night, and we will see you tomorrow night here. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern time for the next episode of The Vince Dao Show. Until then, Alpha Moves Only. Everyone have a very good night. God bless and peace.